Tell me a little bit about your background and some of the reasons why you like makeup and why you got into it.
I've always just been interested in the artistry behind makeup, and I first actually started noticing how advertisements would piece together makeup and hair and accessories, etc., for ads, and it would all be done on purpose with intention to not take away from whatever it is that they're selling. And so I always thought that was so cool and so interesting. And then, as a teenager, I was putting on makeup on myself quite often because I had really bad acne. So I was always trying to figure out ways to kind of like distract people from what was happening with my skin and maybe focus on my eyes or focus on my lips. So that's pretty much where it started.
Do you think that there could be more of an acknowledgement of Black women's want to put on makeup and need to experiment with their own makeup and their own styles according to their identities?
Yeah, I think that similar to a lot of other things, I think Black women are often the inspiration behind a lot of what you see, but rarely ever do we get the credit, or rarely ever do we get the respect that we deserve. And I think that we're not always allowed to have as much creative freedom. We're not always allowed to have as much agency with how we like to beautify ourselves. And I really think it's a shame. And obviously that speaks to other things that kind of contribute to why that is the way it is. But I think that, yeah, women definitely, Black women specifically, need to be able to beautify themselves however they want to, and they should be able to experiment and try different things out. But sometimes it's a matter of, like respectability politics could come into play, where you don't want to look like a certain type of Black woman, or you go somewhere to shop and the shades that are available for you are not accurate, or you go somewhere else to shop and the shades that are available for you, but you can't afford it. Mm-hmm. So those are all possible things. But yeah, we definitely play a huge role. I think we are influential in many ways, and people just fail to recognize it.
Mm-hmm. What about colorism? In your own experience, have you ever dealt with a situation where you felt like your skin tone was perhaps something that you had to be constantly aware of? And also, do you think that there is colorism in Toronto and how that plays into the makeup industry?
Yeah, let me answer
two questions. Yeah.
Toronto first. There's definitely colorism in Toronto. I think colorism is like an inescapable part of what goes on within the Black community specifically. I think that we have a lot of things to unlearn and unpack when it comes to skin tone. So yeah, there's definitely colorism. As for me and my complexion, the only time I was ever really made to feel any kind of way about my complexion was when I was around non-Black people, to be honest. I definitely internalized a lot of the comments that were made by non-Black people about my skin, where I wished that I was lighter. I was ashamed. I felt like, damn, like I wish I could just be a little bit lighter growing up when I was a kid, And then as I was a teenager, I started just accepting myself a little bit more for who I was. And then now as a young woman, I completely love my complexion. I wouldn't want to be anything other than Black. I'm happy to be Black. I'm proud. And I embrace it fully. But yeah, like I never try to play up any sort of feelings that I may have had when it comes to colorism, or any issues that I may have had when it comes to certain comments that have been made about my skin tone, just because I know that my experience is I just don't go through things that a lot of darker skinned women go through, and I couldn't begin to possibly even try to think of, what those differences differences are because it's just not my experience. And I always try to be cognizant of that, and I always try to keep that in mind.
So can you share with us your general feelings on Instagram makeup, what it's become, and also can you also speak to how features that were typically and traditionally associated with Black women have now been co-opted by women of other races, and how how that makes you feel?
When it comes to Instagram makeup, personally, I love Instagram makeup. I think it's kind of like a kind of contemporary twist on a lot of different techniques and styles that we've seen before. It's kind of like a mashup of a bunch of different kinds of techniques. Like there's drag makeup, and then there's regular beauty makeup, and all these different things that have come together to create this kind of genre, if you will, of makeup or particular style. And I love it for what it is. It's an art form just like everything else. It's fun to watch. It's fun to create on people. Personally, for me, I have to be in a mood to really play with that on my face. But if somebody else were to ask me as a makeup artist, like I really want to go for this kind of Instagram look, I'm like, yeah, I'm with it. But when it comes to Black women and beauty and Instagram and things like that, definitely you can see, absolutely you can see with many posts on Instagram the ways in which Black women are kind of erased from specific trends, or the ways that Black women, once again, don't really get their just due, and they don't really get their credit. More specifically speaking, when it comes to even like hairstyles, for example. So not makeup specifically, but even if we're branching out and talking about hair, like so many different kinds of hairstyles that were, traditionally and typically seen as Black, other people have co-opted that, and now it's trendy, it's appealing, it's more palatable on someone with a lighter skin tone, and I think it's bullshit. Like I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And then when it comes to makeup, I mean, even just certain, like, even when I think about contour sometimes, or I think about the way people like do their lips, or just certain things like that, I definitely see how it could have been inspired by Black beauty, and then just taken, and maybe to them, the person who's taking it, the people who are watching or looking at a post that has been inspired by Black beauty, it's softened up a little bit. It's a little bit once again, it's just a little bit more palatable, it's a little bit more acceptable, and I think that is complete nonsense. The kinds of double standards that exist out there is absolutely unbelievable, and I want to work to kind of like break that. I want to work to change that, because we deserve to be respected, and we deserve to be able to do whatever we want, however we want, with the credit as much as we want to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's good. So I guess now shifting it to a more lighthearted conversation, can you tell us about your top 3 favorite makeup looks? Just, I know it's hard to describe that, but just tell us like what makes you feel good when you want to, when you want to go out during the day, maybe like a daytime look or something, or when you want to go out at night, what makes you feel good? What makes you feel sexy as a young woman?
First and foremost, before anything, I am like a lashes and lips and brows girl, 100%.
Yep.
With skin in there too. So I love like good, clean skin, a pop-in highlight, a bold lip, and just like flirty lashes and brows. That's my favorite kind of look, and that's my favorite look to create on other people as well. I think there's just something so beautiful and classic and tasteful about doing that kind of look where, like a person's skin gets to show through, their skin is breathing through the makeup, and then you can see their features, like their lashes really pull the attention in. You can see their eyes, you can see their cheekbones with the skin, with the highlight. I love it. My second favorite look would probably be winged liner. I definitely love a good winged liner. And I mean, there are so many ways that you can do it. I love line work. I love doing it on other people as well. So just the line work when it comes to eyes, I think is incredible. But definitely my go-to look, like when I'm going out and I want to feel good and I want to feel cute and I want to feel sexy, is like a smoky eye, some lashes, and the nudist lip you can imagine. So I might add a little gloss. I don't really like lip gloss on myself too much, but I love just like a sexy, smoked out, grungy kind of eye look, depending, actually it doesn't really matter what the color is, but I do love like a dark purple, I love a black, I love a really, really rich dark brown or like a rusty brown, and then, yeah, like a nice nude, for sure, for sure.
Can you tell us how you think the makeup scene has changed in Toronto? Like not just on social media, but actually like in the city. Do you think that it has changed? Do you think that it's maybe become a little bit more progressive? Have brands become more available to women of color? Like, what's your general take on the scene in Toronto?
When it comes to brands becoming more available to women of color, and specifically Black women, when I say that, I think that there is still so much work that needs to be done. I don't think that there's enough, and I don't think that brands take it as seriously as they should. And I think that it's just a frustrating thing. It's just an annoying thing. And even for me, being someone who's maybe a little bit more on the fairer side, like I even remember trying to find makeup as a teenager and as a young adult and going to different brands and not really finding something that I needed. Like, you know, I would have maybe like 2 different options, but something makes me look super ashy or something makes me look really red. But then you have all these pink shades. That's ridiculous. Yeah. And I think that, yes, progress has been made, but there's still so much more, and there's so much more to go. So yeah, when it comes to that in Toronto, that definitely still needs work. As for just overall makeup trends in general, I'd say that I still find that Instagram is very influential. There's like this whole Instagram kind of look. You can totally tell someone's been inspired by people on Instagram, which is fine. I don't really care personally. But yeah, you can definitely walk in, and even with YouTube, you can definitely walk in anywhere, down the street and see a girl who has a look that is very Instagram inspired. But then, you also have people who have maybe studied Instagram, have studied YouTube, but they're just lovers of makeup in general to the point where they're willing to experiment with everything. So they, different foundation textures, different lipsticks, different eye looks, different lash looks, different brow looks, all that sort of stuff. They're trying it out. And it's not reserved specifically for makeup artists or really makeup savvy people. So that is something that I like to see.
As a round out kind of question, I wanted to ask you if you could go back and talk to your younger self and maybe just offer some advice or some words of comfort in terms of how you would grow into your own beauty and how you would exist as a Black woman at this time of your life. What would you say to your younger self?
First things first, I would definitely tell myself, don't be ashamed. What people are telling you about you is a lie. Because that is definitely one thing that I think I didn't hear enough. I got it at home all the time. My mom is a beautiful, dark-skinned, confident Black woman, and I really looked up to her and I admired her confidence for so much, but for some reason it was almost as if everything that she said and how she behaved and how she was a role model for me, it just wasn't computing completely as a child. And I think it was because of the people that I was around. I think it was because of my peers at the time, me being the only Black kid in my class. like black girl in my class. Like, I think that had a lot to do with it. So I would definitely say, like, just don't love on yourself and don't listen to what people are trying to tell you about black girls, about black people, about blackness, about all of that, because they're lying. And I would say too, you know, don't stress about your skin. Like, everybody gets pimples.
Mhm.
Everybody gets pimples. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Be gentle to your skin, because I used to fuck it up all the time. So just be kind to your skin. Be kind to yourself, and understand that if people have something negative to say about how you look or how you dress or how you style your hair, it's because they don't understand it. And it's not for them to understand. It's for you to understand and embrace, and it's for other people who look like you to understand and embrace. Because when you see them, they understand and embrace you. So focus on that. Don't focus on the opinions of people who have no idea what they're talking about.
Mic drop. Mic drop. Okay, that's an awesome answer, Kara.
Had a good time.
All of your responses, and yeah, I think we're just gonna end it there for today.
Look at how the story goes, and we made it through the glory. Staying out the Maury show, we're getting to this money. Cut the light on, girl, you put it right on. You really do, you really do. It's a two-top bass, if I'm feeling